Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Falling Skies, the fan podcast. It's brought to you by TigerPrinceRadio.com. I'm your host, Hank Davis, and my co-host, Alex Cruz, is on Skype. How are you, Alex?
I am fantastic.
Awesome. Your new mic sounds good, too.
All right, great.
First things first, a little bit of apologies out there because I kept calling Weaver, I believe, Porter on the last episode, and I do apologize for that. That was just a rusty omission. I didn't mean anything by it. So sorry about that, folks.
And I didn't catch it, so I'm just much to blame.
It's like when
I was caught sleeping behind the wheel.
Aiding and abetting. I think that's what they call that. Alex, let's jump right into ratings, shall we? Do you have those in front of you?
All right, ratings. Yes, I do have ratings. And ratings for the first two episodes of the second season were 4.46. And that's 4.46 million viewers.
Okay.
And that is that's down from the first two episodes of the first season, which were 5.9.
Wow.
And then the season finale were like a 5.7 or 5.5.
Wow.
However, among the worst ratings from last season were like 3.9 and like a 4.07.
Okay.
So nothing really to despair about. And if we're back on in a nutshell and we compare that to wrestling ratings, it's still doing relatively well.
Awesome. Because they only seem to care about that 18 to 49 demographic, don't they?
Right. They do.
They're like, to heck with kids, a little bit.
Yeah,
kids.
You know what?
They don't count.
They're happy if they meet their target audience, and in fact, I believe they did.
Okay, and I think that's pretty decent. I'm sure a lot of people are going to tell their friends and coworkers and such, and and this doesn't count like people that get it on Netflix and stuff like that, right?
No, in fact, if it's not even on Netflix yet.
Okay, it's on Apple iTunes though, right?
Correct. You can get it on Apple iTunes, and that's about. And also, too, if you have a in-demand service, like if you have
Xfinity,
that Comcast do, or I'm not sure of Charter, but I know for sure for Xfinity, the first two episodes are on there.
Nice. Yes, I do have Xfinity, so that's cool.
And I know I did talk to some of my fellow comic book fanboys. It was today, as a matter of fact, and some of them, they weren't even aware what the show is about or anything. So if we can kind of spread the word, and I think we could get some more viewers.
Yeah. Yes, let's do it.
I think the good news is that it's definitely not V.
Oh goodness, yeah, we're not on the cusp of being canceled at this point.
Right.
That's good.
So,
Alex?
I think that's probably why they do like a 10 episode season, because it's just a really small, and you know what, I think what happens in those is there's a lot of story that we see, and I guess that's why I like Falling Skies. It's kind of makes you wanting more at the end.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. Alex, should we start out with this next episode? Start talking about it?
Yeah.
So this is show 2 of season 2. Shall we gather at the river? Shall we? So we start out with Tom sleeping in a tent during a thunderstorm when a skidder at the doorway. And then they show the skidder coming in and it grabs him by the throat. But it's no big deal because Tom is just dreaming.
And this is not any skidder. This is a particular skidder. This was his jailer, I guess we could call him.
Oh, Red Eyes?
Yeah, because he has that one distinctive red eye, and that's exactly who this particular skidder was.
Gross. They really disturb me. They look like they could be some kind of real insect that you could that you
Well,
could
yeah.
really
Well,
see.
I'm kind of glad they're. It seems like that the only way we can distinguish one from the other is if you give them some type of a flaw, or his flaw is that one red eye, which very well could be an artificial eye.
Well, I'm thinking it's conjunctivitis, pink eye.
Kenny, you got pink eye.
I think he went to the bathroom and then rubbed his eyes. No, I don't know what that is, but that was obviously a dream sequence. As soon as I seen it, I'm like, okay, he's definitely dreaming. Then they never start the show out like that.
And one thing that I'm kind of curious is for younger viewers, and by younger, I'm talking about teenage all the way up to maybe 20. How silly is this literary device that they use, a dream sequence when something shocking happens? Because to me, things like that get old quickly, and I'm not sure if that's because of my age or what. But it was still neat, but it was predictable.
Yeah, very predictable.
Is what I'm saying.
Yes, very predictable. Now, which is in stark contrast to the last episode's ending sequence where they showed it from Tom's perspective, how he was coming onto the scene and then gets accidentally shot. That was really cool storytelling. And then this dream sequence, not so cool. All right, so
it's been done to death.
Yes, it gets done every week on some show.
Right.
Tom's getting checked out by Ann, and he's speculating that the aliens did something to his mind. So Tom and Ann have a nice exchange, and I laughed out loud because Alex included the wall that she had with the posters or with the pictures on it of people she had worked on. He included that into the last episode, and it was in this episode.
So I guess I get the stupid Mike award of the episode.
No, you're not gonna get that one. You're not gonna get that award.
It was funny though because I didn't catch that until I rewatched that second episode today, and I'm like, oh crap, I kind of said that on the last episode, so hopefully that didn't spoil it for you.
It didn't, because my DVR I have it set to like a 3-minute overlap.
Okay.
So my girlfriend and I were sitting at the table and the TV was on, and it had to switch to the program in order for it to keep recording.
Okay.
And so that was on. I had it muted though, but that was on. And so that's why I was saying, don't say it like that on the last episode. But I had seen those pictures, and I pretty much made an assumption. But it was still funny.
And one thing, it's funny because it seems like I got more out of it the second time I saw it.
Yeah, me too.
So
rewatch stuff.
And what we see a picture of Uncle Scott.
Yeah.
And it appears to be his wife. And you know what? That, to me, it's like, oh, there's Uncle Scott. And Ann says something like, oh, yeah. And then it said, oh, we lost Rick.
But then she clarifies it. She says he's just was here 1 minute and then he was gone the next day.
And you know what? You can kind of interpret that two different ways.
Yep.
Like when somebody passes away, some people say, oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, or as what Rick was famous for doing, taking off.
Yeah, leaving. He's done that a lot. Yeah. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. He's just took off. And then we kind of see that at the end.
Yeah. Gives you kind of what's going on the rest of the season, things to look for. And yeah, we see Rick. So that leads me to wonder, are we going to see Uncle Scott, or did the actor who played Uncle Scott indeed want too much money and they thought, nah, we don't need you?
Because they kind of, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, so I guess I should just say.
Well, Bruce Gray must have been asking for too much money. Bruce Gray's the actor who played Uncle Scott, so who knows?
Love it. No, Hal, Di, Jamil, Margaret, and company, they find a bridge. And while they're marveling over this untouched bridge, Jimmy and Ben have a nice cold exchange, I put. It was like Jimmy wants to talk, Ben, not so much.
And what was really cool about Jimmy in this episode, it seems like he really looked up to Ben. He really looks up to Ben and wants to be friends with him.
Yeah.
And later on in the episode, you kind of get that dynamic from the both of them that Jimmy, I guess, they're close.
And doesn't Jimmy look more mature this year?
Well, it's a kid thing.
A little more mature.
Yeah, it must have been all the spice he was taking.
A little taller this year. I can't call him Little Jimmy anymore.
What? He's not Little Jimmy anymore. But you know what? I noticed that more out of Ben too. I noticed the same thing out of Ben. He seems more mature.
Yeah, he shot up.
So it's like, wow.
It kind of works for the character that he's portraying too, you know?
It does, but it's kind of amazing how quickly he shot up in the 3 months' time.
Yeah. So just then, there's an inbound ship, but Dai takes it out. And there goes the bridge. So what they needed was the way to get across that river. And then all of a sudden, bam, now we're in a mess again.
And this was my official Stupid Mike
memorial trophy.
Memorial trophy of this episode.
Awesome.
And I'm going to give it to Dai completely.
Okay. So he's going to...
Because if Dai would have waited till the thing went over the bridge and shot it down, it wouldn't have went into the bridge.
Yeah. It's hard to...
Or the part of the wing wouldn't have went into the bridge.
I'll just say this. Fog of war. That's what I'm thinking. So Captain Weaver, yay, I got it right, is talking to Tom about a bad mission where they lost about 100 people. So right there, this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit earlier. He says they lost about 100 people. Does he mean they're all dead, or did some of them get taken? You know, can you interpret lost as just dead or taken?
Well, if it's coming from Weaver, I guess, took it for being dead.
Okay. All right. I will let that go then.
So, and my next question shows you how much I pay attention to this. Was this some type of event that occurred between the first and second season that we don't know about?
Yeah, that's what he makes it sound like.
Yeah, because that's what I kind of, at first, when I first saw it, that's what I kind of got out of it.
And I'm like, shoot, that would have been a nice, I don't know if that would have been a good season ender or not, but to see those characters go out would have been.
I think it would have been a downer more than anything.
Yeah, death usually is. And
so I think the thing that I need to do personally is I need to go to that Falling Skies website, and they have those comics.
Oh yes, we definitely
put out by Dark Horse.
We definitely got to check those out.
Yes, hopefully Dark Horse, you're hearing this, and this not only Skype can send us money for endorsing Skype, but Dark Horse Comics
can send us a couple of bucks.
Either that or send me all the free Star Wars comics that I want. That'd be great too. But anyway, I digress. But there's like 2 chapters two chapters. The first chapter, and it has multi-issues on the first chapter, tells you what happens. This stuff takes place before the first season. And so I've been having technical difficulties at Stately Cross or Cruise Manor. And one thing that I would like to do is see if that chapter 2 maybe kind of picks up and explains these events more of what happened between the end of the second or the end of the first season and the beginning of the second season.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check into that. So obviously we know at this point that the plot is they need to get across that river. So Weaver's worried that the aliens are going to box them in, and then if they can't get across there, they're trapped, and they're just going to be sitting ducks, and they're going to get killed. But Tom kind of interjects and tells Weaver that, hey, don't trust him, and, hey, don't trust me. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty good that Tom would have the bravery to step up and say, I don't know if I can be trusted.
Yeah, that. I mean, and was this wasn't the scene where he was talked. There's a conversation that Tom has with Hal about the same
Yes, yeah,
thing.
we're gonna. Yep, that's
And
coming up.
I know we're gonna get to it.
That is coming up. Oh,
but yeah, I mean, he doesn't trust himself, which I don't know. I guess I would have done the same thing. And what was this, the Battle of Fitchburg that we were discussing earlier?
You know what? I don't recall the name of the battle.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was the Battle of Fitchburg, and guess what? It's on the Falling Skies website. So
Okay. We will
go ahead and tune into that, and it'll probably explain, and maybe too even explain why about Uncle Scott as well. So I'm definitely gonna look at that when I get done with this episode.
Awesome. Pope gets smart with Lourdes and then starts asking questions about Tom, but he doesn't get anywhere. So he's just fishing around about, Tom's well-being, so to speak, his psychological well-being, I should say.
Now it isn't me, but every time, the first thing that came to mind when I saw Pope on this episode was it's most likely the character, not the actor, but the overacting when something small happens, like they were putting that peroxide or whatever it was because he's cut himself.
Yes,
he's just like, oh, I guess being a little drama queen about it.
Yeah, I think it's the character because he's always been like that.
Yeah,
always been. I don't know. Hopefully that's not the way he acts. It's just the character, I think.
Hopefully he's not a Jim Carrey then.
The scouts are back and they take Weaver, Tom, and Pope to the broken bridge. Jamil thinks he can patch it up. So they were like, he's got some, Jamil has just been thrust into this, this, I don't want to say big spot, but it's like all of a sudden they've just kind of thrown him on us. And he's the go-to guy for all this kind of stuff.
He's like, yeah, I kind of like the character. He's kind of like their technical guy, He's like
MacGyver.
He'll get it done. He can fix it. He'll get it done.
Yeah, he's MacGyver. And, so it's just taking me a little bit to get used to, bam, here's this character, and now he's this intricate part of the team.
So from this day forward, we can call him Jamil Dean Anderson.
We'll play the MacGyver music whenever he's fixing something. So Ben volunteers to go across the river and see if there are some aliens on the other side. He's like, I can swim faster than you can get that boat across, because Hal's going to do it. And then Ben is like, nope, I can swim faster than you can get across there in that boat. And, I'll go check it out. So he's kind of upstaging Hal at every turn.
Yeah, it's that sibling rivalry we kind of discussed in the last episode. That's what I think.
Now, here's where we get to the juicy part you alluded to earlier. Hal and Tom talk about Ben. Then Tom asks Hal for a favor, and that favor is, if I start acting funny, you can take care of me or whatever.
Yeah, and then Matt, he's kind of like on the outside of that tent, kind of listening in on this, and he's kind of freaking out a little bit. Like, oh, what's going on?
As little kids will do.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tom starts bleeding out of his eyes. That was creepy.
And then, he starts, and then he has some type of a convulsion.
Yeah. And we get to the part that you must have thought was the grossest. Was this the grossest thing you've seen on TV?
This was the part that I was referring to earlier, correct.
So Ann checks out Tom and sees something in his eye. And then she starts yanking out a little creature, I want to call it, some kind of specimen out of his eye. It was just like sticking straight out. Oh, that made my skin crawl, because I was thinking of what would that feel like to have somebody with some pliers.
Oh, geez. Talk about the pain.
Peeling some sort of, I don't know if that's an organism or if it's a machine or whatever it is, out of your eye. Oh man, that wouldn't be good. So that's pretty gross, and you win a prize for calling that one.
And one thing too, I know they're kind of examining it later, kind of determine what it was, and what it does, kind of like one of those pill bugs. It kind of rolled itself up into a ball, and it looked like just like a steel shot that.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's I would think it would be it's mechanical.
Okay, it's more mechanical than anything else. All right, Ben and Jimmy, they're getting ready for their scout mission, and Jimmy gives Ben Weaver's compass. That it's almost like a necklace he had around his neck. You're gonna need this more than I do. So Ben makes it across that river in 0 seconds flat. They just cut the fat. They're like, bam, he's on shore on the other side. You gotta love editing.
Yeah.
So that was cool that he gave him that compass. So that's I don't know.
So he's trying to, like, basically Ben's probably like the only one his age that's there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, it seemed like they had some other ones that age last season when they played the soccer game or whatever outside.
Right.
But who knows if they were part of the 100 killed. And Weaver and Jamil are looking at that specimen. Weaver thinks it's a tracking device. Then Tom suggests that they should keep him locked up until they get across the river. Like, okay, keep me tied up until we get across the river. What's to say you're not going to turn on us across the river?
Yeah.
Once we get across. So let's get back to Ben now. Here was my stupid Mike Memorial Award was Ben. He's got the flashlight out, just flipping it around on a stealth mission. He's just walking around like, do. These guys can't see this light. I was like, no. And then he had an SLR camera with him somehow that performs well after it's been wet.
Nice.
So what does Ben stomp? Because he's hearing the noise. He's got the noise in his head. And he rips open that little grounded ship or whatever. What does he stomp on? What is that?
Okay. For all you Battlestar Galactica fans out there, this is like I stated earlier, Mark Verheiden, or Verheiden, however you pronounce his name. When they designed the Cylons, they designed them to be like more organic, and so like the Cylon ships was kind of like what was all one big like life form. Okay. And so what this was the exact same thing. All of these ships that they have, basically all one either machine or being, and so there's no pilot to capture or anything like that. And so what Ben kind of destroyed was kind of, I want to say, like its brain. And evidently it was still alive because a light was on.
Yeah, it was
until he squashed the crap out of it, and
he could get a fine for that. So then Ben is startled by a deer, and he walks up on that structure that's guarded by the mechs. And I was thinking to myself, is this some sort of refueling station where the ships are coming in and stuff?
Actually, I think this was the same set they used for the Death Star shield generator in Return of the Jedi.
Nice. We found these CGs on clearance. Amazing. So it's some sort of communication tower or something along those lines.
So yeah, I that's what I kind of took for it to be, and it was some type of base for some of those ships and whatever communication they were getting to the rest of the aliens.
Back at camp, Weaver tells Matt to go see Tom, but Matt doesn't want to. Then Pope shows up with more questions. Pope wants to see him, but he gets 3 guns pulled on him. And it's great when Anthony's the third gun on him, and he's like, I thought we were getting somewhere.
That was funny.
I love that relationship. Absolutely. So that was pretty good. But Ben goes to see Tom and then shares a secret. Ben says his hate is what keeps him from being controlled by those aliens. And then he shows Tom his disgusting, scaly back. And then Tom tells Ben that it wasn't hate that kept him going, but love. That was a good parenting moment, I thought.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought so because
it was kind of like Star Wars, wasn't it? Don't give in to the hate if you're going to be a
give in to the hate. It was definitely a Jedi Sith moment.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to assume a lot of listeners out there are parents, or some of you probably aren't parents, but when you are a parent, one thing that's clear is your kids matter more to you than anything else for the most part. And this is, I thought this was cool because I could really relate to Tom on this.
And then this message came through.
Message from the dark side there is.
That came through. So, all right, Jamil and Weaver talked to Ben about his recon. Their engine is organic biotechnology. That's what we find out about the alien ship. Weaver and Jamil make a deal to do some investigating on the engines, which I thought was kind of cool. You know, we ain't got time for science experiments, but Weaver's like, yes, we need to know all we can. And I was kind of surprised at him saying that, you know, once we get across the river, of course.
Right.
They asked Ben if he heard anything, and then he lies and says no. So why do you think he's lying about that? Just because he doesn't want them to know his transformation is continuing, or what?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't understand that part. And so now, as I had like a few days to kind of think about it, and it very well could be, you know what, this is maybe what I'm going to turn into.
Yeah, and he doesn't want them suspecting him or questioning him more than they already do, probably.
Very well could be, yep.
So Hal and the team are going to take out that structure, and then the plan is to blow up the bridge after they get across. All right, can you explain to me why do they need to blow that bridge up once they get across? Those aliens have all the technology in the world to get across a bridge.
Yeah, the reason why they basically, once you get across that bridge, it's that base communication tower is right there.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they don't want to have to lead the people into that.
Okay.
And so with it being destroyed, not only do you take apart their communications, but it'll prevent any, at least from that area, to attack them.
Okay. Because they wouldn't have a ship immediately available to load them up. Because I was thinking to myself, like, couldn't they just load up a big ship full of them and then just fly across the river and land and kill you? That's what I was thinking to myself. I was
it makes sense.
I was like, well, all right, let's pretend like they don't have technology now. Pope and his degenerates, the Renegades or whatever they call them.
I like how they named them the Renegades.
They're getting ready for battle. And then out of nowhere, Lourdes has taken a shine to Jamil, and she kisses him. Where did this come from?
I think there's something must have went on in that 3-month time.
How come she? Okay. Last season, wasn't she like the overblown religious nut last time?
She was, but she had something for, she had a thing for hell too.
Yeah, she did. And then I don't know. It just seems like they changed that character without telling us, without letting us see that evolution.
Like it's a whole different character. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it feels like.
Okay.
You know, it's like last year, very, set in her ways, very shy and things. And then this season, who is this guy? I don't know. I was just
Right. Now, I thought there was some, like, the way I took it, there was some major change that occurred, or maybe some growing, even something made, I don't know.
or all the death maybe.
That's what I think. And I'm trying to remember, because something might have been said in the episode in regards to that.
Okay. I'm gonna have to rewatch that again and focus on her scenes, I guess. Hal and Margaret talk reproduction, literally. Now, was that? I don't know. That was. I'm not saying.
This was that flirting that her and Hal have been doing.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it was too much, but it was. I don't know. It was like a conversation I didn't really want to hear. I felt like I needed to leave the room and give them some privacy. But interesting exchange, which basically lays out exactly where this is going. It's going to the love triangle like you speculated. Matt reluctantly, and I say that strongly, reluctantly, rides on the bus with Tom while the little eye bug gets out of the jar and then it crawls onto Lourdes. And I thought for sure it was going to go inside her. Didn't you?
I thought the exact same thing. And then it, like, I don't know if it went into her head or what, or went into her hair, and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I was like, it's going in her face. It's going to go in her face. This is the gross moment he was talking about. It's going to outdo the other one. That's what I was thinking. I was like, but instead it goes out the window. So we know what that means.
So it's going to go and tell everybody where they're at.
Yeah, before it went out.
The Skitters where the second mass is.
Before it went out the window, it says, I'm telling. No.
Yeah, it definitely went out the window.
Hal and the boat crew get across the river and start their mission. Weaver and the rest of the group get ready for the bridge repair. And I goes to myself, boy, that was the fastest bridge repair. I wish car shops could learn something from Jamil and company.
Hey, like we stated earlier, Jamil's MacGyver.
Because I know he said that in the beginning where he said, I'm just going to patch the part that's broke. But I was thinking like he's going to do it there. But they already had the piece, and then they just go, bam, done. It's covered,
wasn't that nice?
I was like, that was pretty fast, guys.
NASCAR. If you look at the gap, though, the gap wasn't too major.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that long across.
So evidently it was something that they could whip up really quick, but if this were if we're talking the real world, I think it'd take a little bit longer. Yeah,
I thought so too. Now, while walking, Hal, Margaret, they all seem to notice that little smashed ship that Ben found. Did you find that odd or no?
Yeah, they were kind of like in awe of it, and Ben was like, yeah.
Yeah, been there. I'm the one there's my footprint. so they're now at the structure, and they're ready to pull off their plan. But just then Matt and Tom talk about what's bothering Matt. Oh, poor little Matt. What a way to grow up in a devastated world. That would be so weird.
When you think about kids, you think about being outside playing with your friends, and fortunately poor Matt had to grow up pretty quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. So Hal, Ben, Margaret, and Di are set to blow up the structure. Just then, the aliens send a ship to get the group on the bridge. But Di blows that structure with that, what was it, an RPG?
It's an RPG. He's like, come on, we only got one left. I was like, oh, come on.
Because at the camp, didn't Hal make it sound like he was going to have C4 or something for that structure?
That's what I kind of thought they were going to do.
But that must be just for the bridge. So I was confused there. I was like, I thought you were going to do that. Don't you have a ton of C4? So how come you couldn't take some of that as a backup plan in case Di misses? We're going to trust Di with hitting this target. So once he takes that structure out, the ships turn around without going after the group, so we think at this point. Jamil is set to blow bridge, and Pope warns that the mechs are right on their tail. So Pope and his renegades had to hold off the mechs and skitters long enough, to get the rest of the group across. And then the bus is stuck with mechs closing in. Tom wants to be cut loose, and Matt's skeptical, but he cuts Tom loose anyway. And then Tom runs back to help with the fight, and he's on that 50 cal, and little Matt saves Tom's bacon. Was that awesome? That
see, I can shoot this thing.
That little tiny guy wasted that skitter.
But if we could back up just a little bit.
Yes.
Matt having to sit in that bus with his dad, he was definitely giving his dad the cold shoulder.
Yeah, he's scared of him.
There's even a little talk there, so like from Tom, I'm still your dad, and he's like, I don't care, I'm scared of you,
Yeah, you're part skitter. I'm sorry. Tom tears up a mech while some no-names get toasted. was that the red shirts or what? They get roasted right over that. They were shooting over some boxes. They just get eaten for lunch. Some people we've never been introduced to.
And I think some of those people I recognize are getting roasted from the season finale too. So evidently they're regenerating or something to die another day.
They need to get red shirts on them fast. Oh, I love the red shirts. All that needs to happen now is let them get hit with flaming arrows. That would make it perfect.
Yes.
Weaver scolds Matt. What are you doing? Oh, then Weaver yells for Tom to get out of there so they can blow that bridge. Skitters and mechs are in hot pursuit. That was creepy how many of them things were behind Tom. That was scary.
Yeah.
That really gave me a sense of a war. Because usually it's just a few mechs and a handful of skitters or whatever. Right. But that gave me a real sense of, wow, this is a war. This is a lot of them. So Pope has to take the charge away from Jamil because Jamil can't blow the bridge. He's just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it appears that Tom does not make it across. What were you thinking at that point?
Well, I thought, I knew they couldn't end the episode quite like that.
No.
But I didn't expect for them to do what they did either. I just thought that they were going to take off and just leave him there.
Yeah.
And then somehow he'll get recaptured maybe and screwed with again by the skitters.
Yeah. Or that would have been a good point to take out whatever was in him. For information, They could have captured him for a minute. Boom, take that out. Yeah, you're free to go. You're a little spy. No, Weaver tells Hal that, hey, we'll go back with a search party once we get to the next camp. Hal comforts Matt, and then Pope comes over to say he's sorry and gets decked by Hal. That was nice. That was nice, man. But Pope felt like, hey, this is the best thing for the group.
Yeah, it's just business. It's not personal.
And then we find out Tom is not done yet. He walks up out of the water, and Ben doesn't shoot him this time. And Tom says, once is enough, I think. When Ben's like drawing down on him, he's like, hey, it's me. Once is enough, I think, dude. And then Ann has, Ann and Tom have their moment when she says she's getting sick of losing him. So this is, they're developing that story nicely. The family portion of it is good. And at the very end, Lourdes notices the specimen is missing, and a skitter is off in the tree line getting information from that little creepy.
But not just any skitter.
Oh.
Old Red Eye himself.
I want to call him Pink Eye.
Pink Eye.
But
so then what happens is that thing, that device or whatever it is, goes right into the eye of old Pink Eye. So
is that why his eye is like that? does he receive so many of those a day or a week that his eye turned red?
Very well could be, or kind of reminded me of what was it District 5 or
District 9?
District 9.
Yeah, that was
that's what that kind of reminded me of. Is like that guy turns into that alien and said.
Yeah, that was a strange movie. Now, let me just give a brief synopsis for next week, a little preview. So it's titled Compass. The unit moves into an airport hangar, but the relocation could cause health problems. Elsewhere, the renegade berserkers scheme to cast out Tom. The unit copes with a loss. An enigmatic visitor provides hope. So some mysterious visitor provides hope to the group. Alex, do you have any theories right now? Because one of my theories is that there might be more things inside of Tom.
Okay. It's very possible.
I'm going to speculate right now and say there's more little, I don't know, devices or whatever tracking. There's something. There can't just be the one. I don't think.
Okay. I very well think that you could be right. There could be a whole, I don't know, hive, I guess, of them inside. It's very well possible. But then again, like Ann was saying, hey, I think we got them all. Like, come on, this is like TV and movie world here. We know that can't be
true.
That can't be true. But my suspicion as to this visitor giving them hope is probably could be Rick, I think.
Okay. He's going to be the visitor that gives them hope. Or I'm wondering if it's going to be just a totally different character, that's going to show up. Because they've got some other characters that are going to show up this season.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited.
I know one thing. There were by doing some searches, there are a couple characters that we haven't seen yet that they're listing.
Yes.
So very well could be one of them. And
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody else, but they're listed for specific amounts of episodes. They show, blank number of episodes this person is going to be in. So that kind of lets you know where, next week we should be seeing something, or possibly the week after, or whatever, It just kind of gives you a little bit of a compass, so to speak, on which way this is going. So who gets the stupid Mike Memorial trophy? Is it Ben with the flashlight or Die with the inadvertent too early of a shot?
Yeah, I kind of thought that with the flashlight too. I said, "Oh, Ben's gonna get another one."
Back to back.
But then again, I thought, you know what? Pope could very well get one too for near the end of the episode when he blew up the bridge.
Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah, it was for the good of the people.
Yeah.
So I understand that one at least. But
as much as I would like somebody new to get it this week, I think we're gonna have to give it to Ben. And henceforth, we have to rename this award the Stupid Ben Award. Since 2 weeks in a row, or 2 episodes in a row, he has earned this distinction.
He has.
And not since Stupid Mike himself has that ever happened.
No, it's never been duplicated until now. Oh, my goodness. Any other theories or thoughts that you want to put out there, Alex?
I'm kind of just interested to see where they're going to go with a couple things. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to Ben, even though we were just ragging on him.
Yeah.
There's a school of thought out there that believes he's going to betray him and he's not really who he says he is.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing if that happens.
And so I guess with him stomping out that what was left of that ship, it very well could be he isn't who we think he is, and maybe he is trying to hide something so nobody else gets it.
Figures it out. Awesome. I like that. Well, you want to wrap this up, Alex?
All right. So I guess till next time then.
Yeah, folks, if you want to chime in, we would love to hear your wonderful voices. You can do so at +1 810 309 8445. That number again is +1 810 309 8445. Remember, regular toll charges do apply. It's open 24/7. Or you could record some voice on your computer and turn it into an MP3. Try to keep it under 2 minutes. And email it to us at tprfans@yahoo.com. That's tprfans@yahoo.com. Or you can just drop us an email, and we'll try to include whatever you give us into the show. But for Alex Cruz, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time, my friends.
See ya.
We're signing off.